Hello, and today we are talking all things hyperpigmentation and how you can treat it with products from the ordinary. We're going to go over types of hyperpigmentation, about the ordinary, what about the melanocytes, and what are the five best products from the ordinary to treat hyperpigmentation. And we'll go over a basic morning and evening routine. So, first, the types of hyperpigmentation. Of course, melasma is about 1% of the population. Freckles very common, especially in lighter skin. As we get older, we get age spots, and we get post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, especially in skin of color. So, what causes this? First of all, genetics, UV, and visible light. So, basically, this part of the spectrum. So, visible light meaning like blue light. So, even light from your laptop can worsen hyperpigmentation. Hormonal factors, if you're pregnant, if you're taking a birth control, getting hormone replacement therapy, if your skin is irritated, if you get a chemical peel or a laser to lighten hyperpigmentation, it can make it worse, especially if it's a heat based laser. So, medical conditions, especially thyroid, and if you're on certain medications as well. So let's go over melanocytes. I won't belabor this, but melanocytes are very superficial in the skin, and normally they make pigment. The pigment is transported up to the very top of the epidermis, and the process to go from the bottom to the top of the epidermis takes 28 days. So this is a normal melanocyte functioning. Let's say you have melasma. This is what it looks like then. So how can we stop this melanocyte from producing pigment? Well, there are four steps to produce pigment. Number one, it needs a blood supply. Number two, there's a critical enzyme called tyrosinase. Three, it needs to transport that pigment. And four, it needs to slough off that extra pigment on top. We can intervene in each of these four steps, and these are things that you're going to, that's going to ring a bell basically. The first step, we stop with tranexamic acid. The second step, we have a ton of tyrosinase inhibitors. The third step, we can inhibit the transport with niacinamide or retinol. And finally, we can increase the sloughing of the dead skin cells so the skin looks a bit lighter. When you're putting together a routine, it's best to put together ingredients from different steps. So, for example, if you're using both azelaic acid and vitamin C, that may not be as effective as using azelaic acid and niacinamide because they're two different ways of trying to accomplish the same thing. I'd also like to point out retinol. Retinol is involved in three of the four steps. So, retinol in particular, very useful for treating hyperpigmentation. So, first, let's put together our routine. Let's start with azelaic acid. Azelaic acid, very gentle, safe in pregnancy. Azelaic acid does tend to pill. This is not unique to the ordinary. It's just how azelaic acid can be formulated. So, best to use this at night. Next, retinol. Like we said, used in three separate steps. So, we love retinol. That can only be used at night because it's not sun stable. Next, let's go to a different part of or a different step. Let's use niacinamide to inhibit the transport. Niacinamide, usually well tolerated. Niacinamide 10% may be strong for some people, but many people can tolerate it no problem. Next, let's get a twofer. We can get alpha arbutin and vitamin C in the same product. Vitamin C, ascorbic acid, that's a very potent antioxidant. This we use in the morning, usually first thing on the skin. And lastly, let's top it off with some gentle lactic acid. Lactic acid, though an acid, is very gentle and you can use it regularly, nightly, or every other night, however you want. But let's put together our ideal routine. So let's say in the morning we have our same routine. First, apply your ascorbic acid and the alpha arbutin, and after that, apply your niacinamide. We have three ingredients in one. This is perfect. At night, we're going to have an alternating routine. So, on one night, you can use the lactic acid and azelaic acid together. They're both acids, but they're both very gentle and they can safely be used together, alternating with your retinol. So I would not use these on the same nights, but night one, night two, and then flip back and forth. A great alternating routine to get more ingredients in.